Chief pilot. I came and joined Calspan as a test pilot. I also joined the Air National Guard at the Niagara Falls, and I served that until I retired. I was fortunate enough to sell the company 2 years ago, and now Calspan is in great hands. I know they're doing well. That's my background. I've been a board member of the museum for at least 10 years, and I'm a true supporter in where we're going to go with this thing. I think we have a wonderful heritage here in Western New York with Aerospace, and we need to preserve it. We need a building that's not as hot as this one is now, and with water stains in the ceiling, and that's where we're going. So, let me first introduce my family. Joanne is the lady in pink right there, my wife. And in case you're wondering why I wear using cue cards, is a few years ago, or more than a few years ago, I was given an award by the Chamber of Commerce as up at the casino, and I introduced my family, and I forgot to mention my older daughter. And so Sarah and her fiance, Nick, are right next to my wife. And believe me, I'm never going to live that one. So Western New York deserves a top-tier aerospace museum. There have been so many innovations and airplanes built in this area you guys may or may not be aware of. Glenn Curtiss moved his aircraft company here in 1960 to downtown Buffalo. And it then became the Curtiss Wright Company. Thousands of airplanes were built there in World War II. When the war ended and they shut down the factory, they donated the research lab to Cornell University. It became the Cornell Aeronautical Laboratory, which Lou, you worked there, I believe. Lou Infante was the wife of my former chief pilot. He joined after the war as chief test pilot, Mello, her husband. Cornell Aeronautical Lab spawned many, many companies in Western New York, not the least of which was Calspan. That's the cow of Calspan, it's Cornell Aeronautical Lab. Moog was spun out of that, and at least 20 or 30 other companies were formed out of Cornell Aeronautical Lab. So, Bell Aircraft is another company. Consolidated Aircraft is another. Consolidated built seaplanes. And they had a tough time flying off of Lake Erie in the wintertime. I wonder why. So they transplanted themselves to San Diego, and through iterations of ownership, they ended up being General Dynamics, which is now one of the biggest aerospace companies in the world. The space and aero photography of Kodak, just an hour down the road, did a major input into the space program for photographs. So in summary, we have such a rich heritage of aerospace in Western New York. We need to preserve it and make it fantastic. So that's our goal, is to honor that heritage. We want to make it informative. We want to make it family friendly. We want to make it fun. We want to make it educational and entertaining. So that's our goal. So the one takeaway that I want to leave you with is our objective is to create the best aerospace museum in the country, excepting probably maybe the National Aerospace Museum at Washington. That is, without a doubt, the best museum. Right. We're going to be close behind it. So thanks for coming. Enjoy the refreshments and the tour, and I really appreciate your interest. Thank you.
Thank you, Lou. The promise that we keep going back and forth on is we will be the best aerospace museum in the country, and I stand by that. So I want to thank everyone for being here tonight, and I want to encourage you to explore the museum at your own leisure. But before I do just want to say a couple more things, and I promise we know it is hot in here, but this is part of the reason why we really need to move. So in the meantime, while we feel positive about our future opportunity, and especially this new parcel in downtown Niagara Falls, we are continuing to explore other options, but most importantly, we are investing in our current space and making sure that we are providing the best visitor experience and community resource that we could possibly be in our current facility. I strongly encourage you to come back to the museum for our annual Hangar Dance, which is October 4th. Shameless plug, you should all buy tickets to it. But the reason I'm telling you this is to incentivize you. We will be having, for the first time in our museum's history, an exhibit on the Curtiss P-40. And we will be bringing in a Curtiss P-40 from the Glenn Curtiss Museum in Hammondsport, New York. And it is on the screen, it's been rotating around a little bit. It is an iconic airplane in aviation history, and it is something that was produced right here in Western New York. I hope you're enjoying all this luxurious space that we have here, because bringing in another airplane is going to take up a lot of it. So again, these are part of the reasons why we do need to be thinking about not just increasing the collection that we have and creating a better representation of the aircraft that were constructed in Western New York, but making sure that we have the space to interpret them properly and give all of the incredible information that we have about these aircraft. I also want to thank our board members, Jim Van Oss and Allison O'Connor, for project managing this undertaking, and all the volunteers who have been instrumental in making this new acquisition possible. In addition to our newest addition and our newest aircraft, we're freshening up some of the other museum spaces, some of which is already underway. As part of this refresh, our iconic P-39 is starting to look like her old self again. Thanks to our diligent and devoted volunteer grease monkeys, the engine was returned to the craft, and more of the aircraft will be on display for the first time in her history. Additionally, thanks to the generous support of the Western New York Library Resource Council, we have an exciting new project in our archives. Our beloved library volunteer, Rhonda, and our newest addition, Kaylin, are digitizing our records from the Apollo program. Not only will this make resources more accessible for researchers, but they will also find their way onto our website and social media channels, as Kaylin will be producing some new content pieces about her discoveries in the archives that will also be highlighted in the new email newsletter that John referenced earlier. Lastly, we will continue our commitment to STEM education and inspiring the next generation of pilots and engineers. Mark Laurie, superintendent of the Niagara Falls City School District, joined our board, and we are working together to provide more STEM enrichment for our local students. We are also continuing our enormously successful partnership with the University of Buffalo. Each year, the museum hosts engineering students who work on real-world projects. I am so proud to announce that the students we hosted this past spring won first place at the University of Buffalo Mechanical Engineering Senior Design Demonstration Competition for their project, Bell X-22 Inter-Retractable Ducted Fan Engineer Stand. I need the engineers in the room to talk me through this all. That's a Jim and Allison project. As we look toward our next chapter, we will continue to balance our future vision with our current impact. We hope you realize how much of an impact your support has made, and we hope that you will remain part of this community as we embark on an exciting new journey. And to give you an idea of what we are thinking about, we have these wonderful new renderings from Hadley exhibits. They're stationed around the museum. We also have our wonderful docents and volunteers who are stationed around the museum with artifacts that are typically not on display, due in large part to the fact that we don't have the space to have them out on display, or necessarily the interpretation to support someone's understanding of what exactly they're looking at. But tonight, we're providing a behind-the-scenes experience, so I strongly encourage you to walk around the museum, talk to the docents who will be stationed at different tables or at different aircraft or different parts of the museum to learn more about some of the things that our collection includes. I also want to encourage you to finish this wonderful food that we have displayed here and enjoy yourselves for the rest of the evening. But this will conclude the program that we have planned for you, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of your evening here. So thank you all very much.